Hi guys. So briefly, really quick, I wanted to talk about how kind of like reiterate and expand on how we live in a world that's solely built around spiritual warfare. So one of my favorite spiritual quotes is that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. And so we very much so are operating from a lot of like a spiritual stance, spiritual law, and stuff, all of that, all of that in nature a lot of the time. And the reason I'm bringing this up today is because I want to talk about the importance of choosing your spirit anyway in this world because we live in a world that's meant to confuse and everything. Spiritual warfare a lot of times it means like you are quite literally fighting for your spirit and soul. A lot of times you're fighting for your spirit and soul to live quite literally. And a lot of people, when you're going through spiritual warfare, it can be very tiresome. You can be wondering like the why a lot of the times. But I feel like once you have knowledge and awareness of what the world really is, then you can have more strength, you can have more understanding and a whole different perspective and understanding of how to move about in the world. And so spiritual warfare a lot of times it attacks the spirit and the strength of the person to the point where I truly believe, for example, a lot of our suicidal things happen because one, the pressures that society puts on individuals, but two, it's because we're in spiritual warfare where the more you can get like spirit to turn against itself, the more you can get people to eliminate themselves in very sinister and violent ways. It kind of fuels this like this spiritual warfare. We can say good and evil. It kind of fuels the evil in the world, for example. And so what happens is a lot of times sensitive souls are born on this planet and we have this idea that everything's just and fair. We're actually not weak, we're just fucking sensitive, and this world is not designed for us on purpose because it's a fucking warfare and they're set up from the beginning. Is to easily eliminate those souls who have a light about them. Innocence is attacked like right when they're young, for example, in a spiritual perspective, and it's all because like evil is trying to meet their status quo. Like they don't give a fuck about fairness, and so right off the gate, the world is kind of designed to not be just and fair, and a lot of it does not accommodate sensitive souls, people who have a light about them. The world is actually trying to get rid of people who have a light about them. And so the thing that sensitive people have to do is develop strength, knowledge, and understanding of how to navigate in this fucked up world to where they can be on par with evil. So like they can stand 10 toes down and buck with evil evenly, but sometimes the world take us out before we even get to that point because it's so fucking evil. And so the whole point is to understand you're in war, you're in spiritual war, and then to navigate from there, if that makes sense. And so the reason people might be like, well, why save your own spirit if we are already set up from the beginning, or we're like fucked from the beginning, or like the world is made to be hard for us in the beginning. It's because that's part of the contract, that's part of the spiritual war. For example, if we want to bring God into it, God has, angelic spirits or people of light who are sent to fight this war, and you're picked for a reason because you're strong enough. But sometimes we are like evil is so good at convincing us that like we're in the wrong, or that like we're fucked up in this world and everything, and we end up eliminating ourselves. But the point is to survive for survival's sake. It's not to co-sign to what the world thinks is successful. You are beyond the material and physical world. And so in a biblical sense, in a spiritual sense, you are beyond what the world is saying successful is. So a lot of spiritual people, they are highly spiritual, but they can look like they're failing in the physical world because the physical world is very rigged. And so what stops a lot of sensitive souls a lot of times too is that, oh, I'm failing in the physical world, so I need to take myself out because I can't fit in this world. But no, you're not supposed to. And so the more that you get down with being perceived as crazy or not fitting in, or not like fucking with the ideals or the status quo, understand that your thing is to survive for survival's sake, so that you can flip the frequency and the consciousness of the world. You're not supposed to fit in. This world is fucked. And so, long story short, the point is just to have strength, to survive for survival's sake. Eventually, as you work the muscle, you get stronger and you learn and stuff as you go, but you can't beat yourself up for fumbling or for looking crazy and all this stuff. That's what the world wants you to feel. And so the more you can have awareness and the more you can work your muscle, the more you can learn from past mistakes, and the more you can understand what the world truly is, the more you can just get on with like your real mission here, your real purpose. The thing with evil in the world is that it wants to confuse you, that we aren't in a war, that things aren't what they seem, and so even make you feel like you're not supposed to have a fucking purpose here. Your purpose is your essence is enough, your being is enough, and you need to live your fullest best life, because every being has a right to live out its fullest best life. And unfortunately in this world we have to fight for it. And so it's fighting for it to give yourself the best shot as possible. That is the point. A lot of times it's not always being successful, rich, etc. Giving yourself the best shot, but also that adds to the collective and showing others to raise their vibration, to be their authentic selves, even when the world says fuck you. And so that's what I feel, and that's the reason to save your spirit this time anyway. If you have to be more rebellious with it, do it, not in like a harmful way to yourself and others, but rebellious in the sense of like, I don't give a fuck what people think. And it's easier said than done, but again, once you understand what this world really is, you can be like, oh, this is spiritual warfare. I'm fighting for my spirit. Claim your spirit over and over again, and fuck everything and everyone else that's trying to kill off your soul and spirit and your mission and your purpose. And because we are in warfare, a lot of things again want to veer in your lane to knock you off purpose, to make you feel crazy. But the point is to choose it anyway. So God put you on this planet to do what you got to do, and choosing God over and over again, choosing your spirit, choosing God over and over again. And so it's saying fuck you to the evil forces that be, and that I believe in the higher power anyway. I believe in myself anyway, and that's how you have to be. And something that evil hates the most is someone who keeps choosing love and choosing God over and over fucking again. And that's the point, is just to say fuck you to evil. So goodness doesn't have to act the same way that evil does in this world to make a point. You know, evil can just be mad that you fucking trust God anyway, that you trust yourself anyway, that you live out a life where you have faith anyway. And that's the point. It's like evil can be like, okay, I'm gonna make it to where you have no money. And then the goodness in you is like, well, faith makes me feel rich. Faith makes me feel good. So I'm gonna fuck with faith. I'm gonna fuck with God still. And so that's the point. Evil will always be testing you in this world, and you can look like you're failing, but that's the point. It can seem like evil is winning, but good people don't have to fight the same way all the time. And so saving your spirit is enough in itself. Existing in any given moment, existing today, existing in this minute is enough to be like, that's your why, is to say fuck all these forces that are trying to confuse me and trying to fuck with my head and trying to fuck with me and have me feel these sinister thoughts or things or feelings and overwhelm. But yeah, and choosing and reshaping your purpose in every given moment is basically, our life is about us defining our purpose every given moment, no matter how small, and it's ever changing. And so allowing yourself to choose is the point.